This here is a scoring sheet that's filled out. Yeah, it looks a little bit confusing. I mean, maybe it is. But I'm gonna break it down for you and just make it make sense here. We're gonna start off right now with basically just kind of the cheesiest graphic that I could find that illustrates the layout of the field. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it down and go over the top here. You can see here that each player on the field has a number. You start with the pitcher, you go to the catcher. Now you can see it. And then first base is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those numbers are important when you're trying to translate quickly on a score sheet what happened with a specific hit. So as long as you know those numbers, it's pretty easy to show what's going on. This is more of a kind of zoomed in version of a score sheet. We're going to Springfield here for this game. And as you can see right here at the top, you got the innings. First inning, second inning, third inning. And then you have something that kind of looks like a baseball diamond right there. And that's intentional. It's meant to just allow you to quickly graph out what just happened. So the goal today is to learn how to record outs. We're going to record outs. We're going to record when somebody scores a run. We're going to record when somebody causes a run to be scored, which is called an RBI, a run batted in. Those are all interesting stats to have, and it also, at the end of the game, if you keep track of everything and there's a deviation in the scoring, you can show your work and, avoid any arguments. Not that that's ever happened before. So let's just say that, let's just go hypothetical here. Bart's up to the plate. Bart, he cracks an out right away. He just grounds out to shortstop. In these terms, Bart's here, hits the ball here, and then this guy throws him out at first base. So how do you represent that? Real easy. With a ground ball, you don't have to. If you enter something into the score sheet, it's assumed that it's a ground ball. So if you just write 6-3, that easily represents what happened. Now, you also want to keep track of how many outs there are in an inning. So when there's an out, you just put the number of out. Since it's the first out, you put 1. Okay. Lisa is a little bit better of a hitter, and she actually gets a double. She hits that ball out to center field, and she runs all the way to second base. You know what the nice thing about when people get on base is you don't really have to describe how they got there. You just have to say that they got a double. See how they got all the potential hits there listed right on the score sheet? In fact, I'm going to go over to the blown up map. She got herself a double. So there, you can see it a little less. But there's Lisa, first inning. She scored a double. And then you just draw a little line of where she is. See that? So now she's on second. And you're going to continue this line later, when somebody hits the next hit. But for now, that's what it looks like. Now, say, for example, Lisa hits a double, but then, the other team drops the ball. And she just runs to third base. She still has that double, but you can see here that she's on third. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's already a kind of a crazy game, isn't it? All these errors and things. Into You is playing on the radio somehow. All right. Now, Nelson. He gets up and he just cranks a home run. Holy cow. Nelson, that big bully. So, what do we do here? We write home run. HR. And he's gone all the way around the bases. He hits Lisa in. She scores. And anytime somebody scores, you fill in the diamond. And then at a quick glance, you can kind of just count up the runs at the end of the game. Like 1, 2. There's 2 runs, you know. Since Nelson caused Lisa to score, he gets an RBI, and we mark RBIs by just a little dot in the window. And since he scored himself in, that's a second RBI. So with every filled in box, you need to have a corresponding little dot. And who caused the run? So now Nelson has 2 RBIs and 1 run. Lisa has 1 run. And now the score is 2-0. Little Maggie, she gets up to bat. Everybody comes in on the infield. We do an infield shift. Everybody comes in, you know, like that, because they're expecting Maggie to just dribble one. But you know what Maggie does? She surprises everybody. And she hits like a little blooper right over the third baseman's head. It lands here. The guy in the outfield has to come pick it up. And so Maggie ends up getting to first base. We circle the 1, and now we have no out. We have 1 out with the person on first. Homer gets up. Homer grounds into a double play, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. So Homer hits a ground ball to shortstop. Shortstop throws it to second. Then second throws it to first. That's 2 outs. So Homer, unfortunately, grounds into double play. Three outs. Maggie is thrown out at second like that. And that's the end of that inning. So we're done. At the end of the inning, I usually put a little slash there just so that like it's less confusing. You can see here, it gets a little confusing after the whole game's over, right? Some people draw a slash to fill up. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. You put a little slash there, it marks the end of the inning. See here, anyway. I mean, that's the basics of scoring right there. Here's a couple other quick things. If, for example, next inning, Lurleen gets up to bat, any kind of scoring is going to take place in this column because it's the second inning. So Lurleen is going to get up, and she pop flies straight to center field. She hits the ball boom, right out here. One of these 2 guys in center field is going to catch it. Probably going to be this guy. So in the case of a pop fly, you just put F. I'm sorry, I messed it up. F in second inning. Dash the number of the player who caught it, which in this case was 8. And then you put 1 out for the first out. Then you go to the top of the second inning here, top of the batting order, and the next stat is going to be recorded when Bart gets up. Bart gets a hit. In fact, he hits a triple. circle, triple. Lisa, she hits a line drive to second base. So Lisa goes right here. It's a line drive right to the second base person. Second base person's number is 4. And when there's a line drive, you put L-4, second out. See that? Bart's still on third base. Nelson comes back up. He hits a double. I mean, he's that guy, you know. Love to hate him, hate to love him. But he's going to score Bart. Nelson gets another RBI for the day. And he ends up on second. Maggie hits a single. Yeah. Nelson runs to third base. So now we have a person on first and third. We've got 1 out. We've got 2 outs. There's an out there. There's an out there. At kind of a glance, knowing what you're looking at, it's pretty easy to tell right now that you have 1, 2, 3 runs. In this particular inning, you have 2 outs. And here's where your people are on base. You got somebody in scoring position. You got somebody on first. So, of course, when Homer gets up and hits a grounder to third base and gets thrown out at first and ends the inning, it kind of sucks. So in that case, you do 5-3 because it went to third and the third base person threw it to first. The third out and the end of the inning right there. And you can see that little hash mark's important because when we go out to the field, sometimes we forget what happened last. But in this case, like if you just looked at this and there was no hashtag there, you would be like, I have no idea who's up next. But since we put the hashtag, we know that the next person up to bat is going to be Lurleen again. And then the scoring, whatever happens with her, is going to go into this box once we come out of the field. So, James Vincent McMorrow would say, get low. And he did. And that's scoring in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please let me know. We're just going to end on an image of this again, so you can see it. Is that RL? Crank that up.